Yeah, obviously Chris Smalling had to go back to his club yesterday, but so we called Ben Gibson up, as you know. Everybody else is fit and available, yeah.
What was the problem with Chris?
Well, he picked up a knock in the game towards the end of the game in Germany, so on assessment he wouldn't have been ready for tomorrow.
Can you confirm, we've kind of heard through other channels, but can you confirm who the captain will be tomorrow?
Yes, Joe Hart will captain the side.
And what was the thinking behind Joe Hart, and was there any other candidates? Did you have to think long and hard before giving it to Joe?
Yes, I did have to think seriously, because I think we've got a squad now where there are some emerging leaders. I've talked before about sharing the responsibility around that squad, and even some of the youngest players who've just come into the squad have been able to talk openly in front of everybody this week, which is a great sign. Joe is our most capped international. I think he's shown great maturity in the way that he's recovered from his own disappointment last summer, that I know he's spoken to you guys publicly about. And I think it's a good moment for him. He's playing well with his club. His performances with us have been excellent. I think he's respected by everybody in the group. So some people question a goalkeeper as being captain, but I did it with Jack Butland with the under-21s, and in the end you're looking for the professionalism and the impact during the week, not just on the match day.
You talk about getting more and more leaders within the squad. You kind of intimated, and it's probably been enforced in a way sometimes now because of the game-by-game approach that you've got with regard to the captain. It's kind of a move away to what the FA have done in the past and having like a figurehead as a captain before. Is that something you've had to speak to the FA about, and what your approach is on it?
No, not at all. I don't think that's been an FA guideline ever. I think that's just what individual managers have decided. So no, I'm not under pressure to pick any players or do anything that isn't the right thing for a football decision. So I'll obviously make those decisions. I talk to the rest of my staff about that, but it's always got to be what's right for the team.
You mentioned Ben Gibson, big call up for him. What qualities have you seen in him to call him up to the England squad?
Well, he's a player we've worked with the under-21s, so we know him well. We know his personality and character, and when you're bringing somebody in late into the squad for a couple of days, it's really important that you know what's coming through the door. And with him, he's already captain of his club, Premier League captain at a very young age, which tells you something about his leadership qualities, the type of person he is. He's also had a very good season with Middlesbrough. So there were also one or two other players that are on our radar in that position, but we know him well, we know what we're going to get, and that was the most important factor.
Is someone that you looked at for a while then and considered picking before?
Yes, he's it's always important to know what your succession list is. So that's why I sort of trail around the country and watch millions of games on my laptop as well, because it's important to know every position, who's the first choice, who's the next one's in, and you've got to have depth, because if you get an injury or a run of injuries, it's always in one position. That's the way it works for coaches.
Is there a chance he could start tomorrow?
There is a chance.
And would it be a gamble, considering he hasn't been involved in the squad before?
No, I don't think it would be a gamble to play anybody in the squad. That's why they're here. I think it's very important that the players feel the belief that we're not afraid to put young players in. We believe in the senior players like Ryan, and I think it's important that the players feel that. So we don't select anybody into the squad if we didn't believe they could go on the pitch and do the job.
We saw Harry Kane watching on training today. Did you get a chance to speak to him? How's his recovery going? Is he giving you an idea of when he could be back? He's
in good spirits. He's disappointed to have missed this camp, and obviously, being the sort of professional he is, I'm sure he won't be too long in that recovery. He'll do everything he can to get back as quickly as possible. So, we haven't actually had the chance to pick him yet for a senior team match, but it's great that we know there's a player like that still to come back into the squad.
This is a match that England are expected to win, and I guess win well as well. With that in mind, what's the key message that you're giving to the players?
To focus on performance. The most important thing is that we believe in all of the players. We think we're a hungry young team with a lot of potential, and we want to go out and play an exciting brand of football. We work hard for each other, and the scoreline takes care of itself if you do all those things correctly. So we're always focusing on performance, and the result will follow.
It is a young team, as you say. It's a young squad as well. When do you expect this squad to be at its peak, to be at its best? Is Russia 2018 too soon?
There's no way of telling that. I think there's no reason why. I think we've seen a huge progression in the couple of weeks we've had with the squad in October, November and now. So I like their intelligence in terms of their football intelligence. They're able to grasp new concepts. They took on board a new tactical system the other day and applied it really well. They're very driven and highly motivated. So we can progress quickly. How quickly remains to be seen. But I don't think there's any need to put a time scale on that, because everybody will progress at different stages individually. But as a team, we should be looking to improve every day and every time we come together. With the formations,
you went 3 at the back against Germany. Have you been pleasantly surprised at how quickly the squad are picking the different kind of formations up?
Well, I don't think we'd have asked them to do it if we didn't think they could. I think it suits the personnel. A fullback like Ryan, who's a very positive attacking force, great athlete, use to the ball is excellent. So, he can adapt between playing at fullback and playing at wingback, no problem. He's an intelligent player, and there are slight differences to the role, slight nuances to the role, but he's intelligent enough to pick that up very quickly. So, and that is the same for other players as well.
Last couple from me, Gareth. On Wednesday, some of the fans, were criticised for some of the chanting. What would your message be to the fans, particularly with a poignant pre-match tribute as well tomorrow?
Yeah, well, firstly tomorrow it's important that that's respected in the way that it was before the France game. I think that was a great advert for England supporters and for England as a nation. The supporters are no different to us with the team. They represent the country when they go away. So, we want to be good ambassadors for the country and set a good example. And the majority of our supporters do that. I've got to say that generally our support is excellent. We have some who, unfortunately, were chanting things the other night that were unacceptable. But I think we would prefer to focus on those that support us well, get behind the team. We've got a sell-out crowd again tomorrow, and we're grateful for that support.
Eddie Jones was at your training session yesterday. Can you give us an insight into the ideas perhaps that you guys exchange with each other?
Maybe Ryan would like to answer that. I think it's a good, I think it's great for us to get ideas from other sports. Winning mentality, winning environments. So that was what I was looking for, but I think the players will have a view of what they took from that, really.
In
Gareth as well, I think the FA are going to show their respects to Graham Taylor, his family are going to be present as well. Just to talk about Graham and what he achieved and the impact he had on English.
Yeah, it's a great coach. Family lived in Watford for a long period of time, so I used to go and watch his team play when it was John Barnes and Nigel Callaghan on the wings. So, what he did for that football club, taking them through the divisions into Europe, and more what he did for the community as well. It was the original family club. His personal qualities, whenever I met him, were the things that stood out, and also having played at Villa, I know how he was revered by everybody there as well. So a little sad in some ways that some of the great tributes to him were after he passed away, because I hope he realises how highly thought of he was. But he was, and so it's nice, lovely moment for his family that he gets that recognition.
As for the game, you say that Ben Gibson, there's a chance he could make his debut. Is that a clue that you might be sticking with the three at the back?
I'm not giving you any clues, Deno, about anything. So I think we have got the flexibility to play a number of different ways, and it's important that that our players feel able to do that. We have to be adaptable as we go through the next 18 months. We need to be able to change quickly, and as that progresses forward, we need to be able to do that within games as well as at the start of games. So it's a key skill for us to develop. It's not certain that we would play the same way. It'll depend a little bit on the opposition and how we think we can hurt them.
From outside your group, the expectation levels will rise from the switch from obviously the game against the world champions to Lithuania. Will you stress to the players about the importance of patience?
Yeah, I think it's a good point, because we want to play with a good tempo. We want to press with a good tempo. But also we can have a calmness about the way that we play. I thought the other day we played with controlled aggression without the ball. And maybe in their half of the pitch we could be even a little bit more controlled when we've got the ball. If we can score quickly, great. I think we'll be able to do that in terms of quickly on counter-attacks. But sometimes just having that calmness when we're in the opposition half of the pitch is a good reminder for us, because important that we make good decisions, and we're capable of doing that. So there's no need for the players to rush those things. There's no need, if we haven't scored in the first 25-30 minutes, to feel that that won't come, because we're good enough to create those chances and make sure that we make good chances rather than we take shots that we don't need to take on, or we're off balance. It's just about playing move the ball quickly but in a controlled manner.
What do you actually say to him, and is he likely to start tomorrow?
He's I've been really impressed with his contribution to the group. It's great for the younger players to see a player of his experience with that hunger still. Not just a hunger to score goals, which he's always had. I was in the squad when he first came into it. And he's always had that ability to finish. But also the way he looks after himself. He's in fantastic physical condition. He's very conscious of his diet. He's very conscious of physically preparing correctly. So he's got great experiences to pass on to everybody in the group, and I think that's been evident in everything on and off the pitch this week.
Okay. Any further questions? One at the back there.
Coach, what threats of Lithuania game do you see which could harm England, and are there any?
Yeah, we have to be ready for both of the wide players are technically good players in particular, so we have to pay attention to that. They're a side that are good in counter-attack. They're a side that, certainly against Scotland, scored from some good interplay with their front players. They're happy to get the ball forward early if they need to, and we have to make sure our attention's correct on set plays. So for us, they would be the key areas of their game.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. If the written guys stay in here, we'll head out for a quick radio briefing and return.